Hey there, welcome to the sermon preview for this week. I'm glad you're taking a couple seconds to join me here today to prepare yourself for the sermon. We're jumping into our next passage in our Greater Than series, which is our series on the whole book of Colossians. If you remember, we're going to be in Colossians for 10 weeks. This past week, we kicked this off. We had our first sermon on Sunday, and we focused on this idea of salvation and sanctification and how that plays into it, and God's work in salvation and sanctification and our participation in that work of salvation and sanctification. And so if you're interested in that and haven't seen that sermon, that's on our website. It's on our YouTube page. Go and check that out. So this week, we're going to be jumping into the next passage, and we're just taking the next chunk in chapter 1. We're moving kind of slow through this because there is so much in this book of Colossians, in this letter that Paul writes to the Colossians, that we just have to take it a small chunk at a time. And so we're going to be starting in verse 15 and only going to verse 23. So we're not going too far in this. But in here, we see that Paul, he lays out in these first couple verses from verse 15 to verse 20, it's kind of this poem that he has that he is giving to the Colossians, and he's laying out the beliefs or the understanding of who Jesus is and his connection to creation and his connection to God the Father. And it really helps us understand that Jesus is fully God. He was there at creation. He was there when the world was created. In him things were created. Through him things were created. For him things were created, right? Jesus is in the mix. Everything about creation says Jesus, right? And so Jesus is a part of that. And he when he came to earth, it says that he was the image of the invisible God. So he took the invisible and made it visible. Another way to say that, he took the unknowable and made it knowable, right? When you can't see something, you don't really know much about it, right? So he took the unknowable and made it knowable. So we see this work that Jesus does on kind of this cosmic level within creation, within the world. But then we also see the individual work that Jesus does on each person's life, right? We see that he is able to reconcile people back to God. So we see that Jesus has work on a cosmic level, and he has work on an individual level, on a small scale level for each individual person. So I'm really looking forward to the sermon on Sunday. We see that Jesus is dwelling on earth. He's bringing God to earth. He is the God-man here on earth. And so in this passage, last week we talked a little bit about this idea of Jesus being supreme and sufficient, right? His supremacy and his sufficiency. And we see a lot of that coming out here, both in Jesus' supremacy and his sufficiency in creation, and his supremacy and sufficiency on an individual level for us as well. So I would encourage you to reflect on that. How have you seen, or how has the supremacy or the sufficiency of Jesus affected your life or changed your life? How's it changed your family's life or your work life? Or how has this idea of the supremacy of Jesus or the sufficiency of Jesus, how has it changed your life? I encourage you to reflect on that. I encourage you to read through this passage a couple different times. Maybe try some different translations. They may give you some more understanding or different understanding in that as well. So I'm looking forward to Sunday. Really excited to continue to dive deep and to dig deep into this letter to the Colossians that Paul writes. Not only to understand the context then and what he was trying to teach them, but also how that relates to us and what we can glean from this and how we can apply it to our current context in the modern world. And so really excited for Sunday. I hope you are as well. We'll see you here 9:15 Sunday morning. Take care. Than anything I've known or seen, you're stronger, stronger.